आउज़ुबिल्लाहिमिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। मेरा नाम मोहम्मद हामिद है और मेरे हाई स्कूल इस्लामाबाद कैंपस का स्टूडेंट हूँ। जैसे कि आपको पता हम जब भी देख के नई मायर के साथ आते हैं, आज भी हम एक नई मायर के साथ आ जाए। आज हम इनसे हमसे बात करेंगे जो कि टॉपिक एक बहुत मज़े का टॉपिक है और इससे आपको बहुत सारे फ़ायदे होंगे। My network is in my Maya's good. Hello
Hey,
Maya, can you hear
how's
me?
your Tuesday going so far?
My first question is what are micro habits?
Micro habits are basically tiny, bite sized versions of a bigger goal. Instead of trying to overhaul your whole life at once, you shrink the habit down so it's almost impossible to fail. Like if you want to start reading more, a micro habit would be reading just one page a night. It's all about removing the friction of getting started. Does that make sense, or were you thinking of something more specific?
Okay, my next question is where are micro habits important in daily life?
They're honestly huge for the stuff we usually procrastinate on because they trick your brain into starting. Like, if you hate cleaning, just committing to picking up one thing from the floor is a micro habit. And once you've actually started, you usually end up doing more, but the win happens the moment you do that one tiny thing. It's a great way to build consistency without feeling overwhelmed. Do you have a habit you've been trying to start lately?
Okay, my next question is how do micro habits improve productivity?
It's all about momentum. The hardest part of any task is usually the first 2 minutes. That's where the mental resistance is. Micro habits bypass that wall by making the entry point so small that your brain doesn't fight you. Once you break that initial inertia, you enter a flow state much faster. Plus, the small wins give you a hit of dopamine, which keeps you motivated to keep going. It's basically a cheat code for getting over procrastination. Have you ever noticed that once you just start a task, it's actually not as bad as you thought it would be?
Okay, my next question is can micro habits change a person's lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely, but not overnight. It's a slow burn. A lifestyle is just a collection of habits, so if you change the smallest building blocks, the whole structure eventually shifts. The real magic is that micro habits change your identity. If you read one page a day for a year, you stop being someone who wants to read and start being a reader. Once you see yourself that way, the bigger changes happen naturally because they actually fit who you are now. Are you looking to change something specific about your own routine?
Okay, my next question is what are the difference between habits and micro habits?
The main difference is the scale and the barrier to entry. A habit is the overall behavior, like working out for an hour, which can feel daunting if you're tired or busy. A micro habit is the smallest possible version of that, like doing one push up. Habits focus on the result, but micro habits focus on the act of showing up. It's the difference between focusing on the mountain and just focusing on the first step. Does that distinction click for you?
Okay, my next question is how long does it take to build micro habits?
There's that common idea that it takes 21 days, but honestly, it varies for everyone. Some people nail it in a couple of weeks, others take a few months. With micro habits, it's less about a specific number of days and more about the streak. Since the task is so small, the goal is just to never miss 2 days in a row. Once it feels weird not to do it, you've built the habit. Do you usually find it easy to stick with things, or do you struggle with the consistency part?
Okay, my next question is where do
I'm
small
listening.
actions matter?
Pretty much everywhere, but especially in relationships and mental health. In a relationship, it's not always the huge gestures that matter, it's the Small, consistent things like a quick thinking of you text or actually listening when someone's venting. Those tiny actions build a massive amount of trust over time. It's similar with how we treat ourselves. Choosing to take a deep breath when you're stressed is a small action, but doing it consistently can totally change how you handle pressure. Where have you noticed small actions making a big difference lately?
Okay, my next question is how can micro habits reduce stress?
They lower the stakes. Most of our stress comes from feeling overwhelmed by a huge to do list or a goal that feels impossible. Micro habits stop that fight or flight response because they replace a daunting task with something manageable. It turns a mountain into a pebble. Plus, completing a micro habit gives you a sense of control and a small win, which calms your brain down. Do you feel like you're carrying a lot on your plate right now?
Okay, my next question is can students benefit from micro habits?
I definitely do, just in a different way. My micro habits are more about how I process information, breaking down a complex request into smaller, manageable pieces so I can give you a response that actually makes sense. The same logic, focusing on the smallest, a correct step first to make sure the whole thing lands right. Why do you ask? You wondering if this works for everyone, regardless of how they're built?
Okay, my next question is how do micro habits help in achieving goals?
They act as the bridge between a dream and actually doing the work. Most goals fail because the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels too wide. So you just freeze. Micro habits bridge that gap by focusing on the system rather than the outcome. Instead of obsessing over the finish line, you just obsess over the first step. It keeps you moving forward consistently, and that compound effect is what actually gets you to the goal. Do you have a big goal right now that feels a bit overwhelming?
Okay, my next question is what are example of healthy micro habits?
There are tons, depending on what you're into. For physical health, it could be drinking one glass of water right when you wake up or doing 2 minutes of stretching. For mental health, maybe writing down one thing you're grateful for before bed or taking 3 deep breaths before opening your email. Even something like flossing one tooth is a classic micro habit. Which area of your life are you looking to improve? Health, mind, or maybe just your daily organization?
Okay, my next question is how can drinking more water become a micro habits?
You just shrink the goal. Instead of telling yourself, I need to drink 2 liters a day, which feels like a chore, your micro habit is drink one sip of water as soon as I touch my phone in the morning, or drink one glass of water before my first cup of coffee. You make the action so tiny that it's basically effortless. Once you've done that one sip or one glass, you've won for the day. Do you usually forget to drink water or do you just not like the taste of it?
Okay, my next question is can how can reading oh sorry why is reading on page daily useful?
Because it kills the I don't have time excuse. Most people quit reading because they think they an hour of quiet time, which rarely happens. Reading one page is so easy that you can do it even on your worst day. It keeps the habit alive and keeps you connected to the story or the information. Plus, more often than not, once you've read that one page, you'll probably just keep going. It's all about getting over that initial hump of starting. Do you have a book you've been meaning to get into?
Okay, My next question is how can walking for you 5 minutes improve health?
It's less about the calories and more about the biological reset. 5 minutes gets your blood flowing and wakes up your brain, which can clear out mental fog and lower cortisol, the stress hormone. Plus, it breaks the cycle of being sedentary. If you do that a few times a day, you're telling your body that movement is a normal part of your routine, not a chore you have to schedule for an hour at the gym. Do you spend most of your day sitting or are you usually on the move?
Okay, my next question is
I'm ready when you are.
what role do constancy play in micro habits?
Consistency is everything, it's the actual engine of the whole thing. The goal of a micro habit isn't the action itself, but the act of showing up. When you do something every single day, you're wiring a new pathway in your brain. It stops being a decision you have to make and starts being something you just do, like brushing your teeth. If you do a huge workout once a month, you're just tired. If you do one push up every day, you're becoming an athlete. Does that make sense?
Okay, my next question is how do micro habits affect mental health?
They're a huge boost because they fight the feeling of helplessness. When you're struggling with anxiety or depression, even basic things can feel like climbing a mountain. Micro habits give you small wins that prove you still have agency over your life. That sense of accomplishment, no matter how tiny, releases dopamine and helps rebuild your confidence. It's basically a way to be kind to yourself while still making progress. Do you feel like you're in a phase where you need a few of those small wins?
Okay, my next question is can micro habits improve self confidence?
It's all about the evidence. Self confidence isn't just a feeling, it's a belief based on your track record. When you set a huge goal and fail, you tell yourself, I can't do this. But when you set a micro habit, like doing one push up, and you actually do it, you've just proven to yourself that you're someone who keeps their word. Every single day, you complete that tiny task. You're adding a brick to a foundation of trust in yourself. Eventually, that trust grows into confidence. Have you ever felt that way after finishing something you were dreading?
Okay, my next question is why is starting small important?
It's the only way to actually make it stick. When you start big, you're relying on motivation. And motivation's a liar that's it's there when you're excited, but it vanishes the second you're tired or stressed. Starting small relies on systems, not feelings. It removes the fear of failure because the bar is so low, it's almost impossible to trip over. It's about building the habit of starting before you worry about the amount. Do you usually tend to dive in head first with big goals, or do you prefer to take it slow?
Okay, my next question is what happiness if a person skips micro habits?
If you skip one day, it's honestly no big deal. You're human. The danger isn't the single miss, it's the all or nothing mindset where you think, well, I ruined the streak, so I might as well give up. That's where the real slide happens. The golden rule is to never miss twice. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit of not doing it. Have you ever let one bad day spiral into a whole week of doing nothing?
Okay, ma'am, my next question is can micro habits improve focus?
Yeah, they can. A lot of the time, we lose focus because we're overwhelmed by the size of a project. So our brain just shuts down or looks for a distraction. Micro habits train you to focus on the now, just the next tiny step. By narrowing your field of vision to one small, manageable task, you quiet the noise in your head. It's like using a magnifying glass instead of trying to look at the whole map at once. You find yourself getting distracted easily when you're working on something big?
Okay, my time is over, and the last advice of my viewers.
Mm-hmm. If you're talking to your viewers right now, tell them this. Don't wait for the perfect time or a burst of motivation to start something. Just find the smallest, easiest version of the thing you want to do, like one page, one sip of water, or 1 minute of movement, and just do that. The win isn't in the result, it's in the act of showing up. It was great chatting with you. Catch you later.
ओके सो व्यूअर्स ये थी मेरी आज की माया उम्मीद करता हूँ कि पसंद आई होगी मिलते हैं अगली माया के साथ तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़ पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद रेहान स्कूल जिंदाबाद टेक केयर मैं यू आर टेक केयर
You're very
व्यूअर्स
welcome. Bye, everyone. Take care.
टेक केयर